This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, if I can get a mover and a seconder, council, for to open the meeting. Belinda and Peter. Moved by Belinda Kistemaker, second by Peter Kistemaker. Be it resolved that we do call this regular meeting of council to order on Wednesday, September 16th, 2020 at 6 p.m. All in favor? And that's carried. Just before we continue this council meeting, we had a past councillor and reeve of our community pass away this month, and I would like to honor Mr. Glenn Priest with a moment of silence, and if we could have that now, please. And we extend our deepest sympathies from Town Council to the family and appreciate all the service and time that he gave to our municipality. So let us continue. And we are on item number 2. There was a one added agenda item. So if I can get a mover and a seconder for the agenda, please. Drago and Belinda. And that's moved by Drago Stefanik, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that council does hereby approve the agenda as amended. All in favor? And that's unanimously carried. Okay, item number 4, disclosure of pecuniary interests and general nature thereof and declaration of conflict of interest. And council, you are aware that you can do this now or at any time through the meeting if you notice a conflict arising. And we move on to the adoption of minutes. If I can get a mover and a seconder for 5.1, please. Peter, Belinda. Okay, moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the council, the corporation, the township of Hornepayne does hereby adopt the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on Wednesday, August the 12th, 2020 as distributed. All in favor? And that's carried. And a mover and a seconder for 5.2, please. Drago, Belinda. Moved by Drago Stefanik, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the council, the corporation, the township of Hornepayne does hereby adopt the minutes of the special meeting of council held on Monday, August 24th, 2020 as distributed. Those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, so business arising from the minutes, there is none. 7 and 7.1 is our open discussion for recreation operations. So we have invited the public to come and speak to this. We had talked about this at our special meeting on August the 24th and received a report from staff about some different suggestions on winter operations. So what I would like to do is I am going to open the floor to the public first to give any insight or comment that they would like to have, and then I will call upon council, and our CAO has some more information, and we can start there. I think the best avenue, just because we don't want to talk over each other, we are in an official council meeting, so we want to respect each other, and I will call upon you. If you unmute your mic, I will try and catch that it's been unmuted, and then you can mute it back and I'll call on you next if that works. So I open it up now for any community members that would like to. One other question, I just want to make sure that all of council did receive the emails that were sent today. We got 2 letters from community members. I just want to double check that. If you haven't, council, if you haven't seen those, they are in your email. They did come out today and they are part of our agenda package. So have a look at those. Okay, I'll open up the floor for discussion. So we want to keep the discussion to winter operations, your what you see as feasible for this year during the COVID, and any concerns, fears, all of those things. That's what we're here to discuss tonight, and we have set aside an hour for this discussion. So, and I'm welcome and thank you for all coming. I'm not seeing any unmuted microphones, so I don't want to rush people, but I know it's an unusual way to conduct a meeting. But if maybe what we'll do is we'll, Gail, would you like to give your comments that you wanted to address?
Sure. I just, over the last few weeks, I've sort of been trying to solicit information from other municipalities about what they're planning on doing for their winter operations, and many are still undecided, but I did get, excuse me, a response from a few. So Dubreuilville, they're thinking of opening up if there's not a surge. They are not doing an outdoor rink. They don't have a curling club. Their fitness center is run by volunteers out of one of their schools, and it has not reopened. Terrace Bay, they're also unsure. They're in the middle of a service delivery review, and there depends on what the provincial restrictions are. Their outdoor rink they hadn't really considered, but it could be possible if their arena does not open. They didn't comment on the curling club. The fitness center, theirs is not staffed. It's open 23 hours a day, has an electronic card for entry. It's closed only 1 hour for cleaning, and users are responsible to sanitize equipment before and after use, and they have a limit of 6 people at a time. Marathon, they had planned on opening September 28th, but they're delayed due to a condenser delivery, and they have commitment from their usual renters, which is why they have decided to open. That's their arena. I know Red Rock is not opening at all. Nipigon is. I'd heard that on the radio yesterday, and I did receive some information just before the meeting on that, but I haven't had a chance to look at that. But I think they're looking at opening a little bit later. And then just some general comments, and these are based on the provincial legislation. So everybody is to be stressing the mask wearing, the physical distancing, and the limits on group sizes. So just to refresh everybody's memories, it's a maximum of 50 people indoors and a maximum of 100 outdoors, as long as physical distancing can be maintained. This also applies to fitness facilities and spectators as well. Team sports are only permitted if there is no physical contact between players. Organized team sports, meaning league play, can only be played indoors if there's a maximum of 50 players and you cannot play outside of your league. And the way I understand it is we don't have a league in Hornpayne, so this doesn't really apply to us, but thought I'd share that information. Another one is any equipment rented to, provided to, or provided for the use of facility users must be cleaned and disinfected between each use or at the end of play or practice as play or practice is allowed. So to me, that reiterates the fact that it's our responsibility to make sure our fitness equipment is clean between each and every user, which we have been doing, and we have hired staff to man the facility at reduced hours. Activities must not be practiced or played within the facility if they require the use of fixed structures that cannot be cleaned and disinfected between each use or at the end of play or practice. And there's a suggestion, if you are opening facilities, to allow 15 minutes between different ice usages to be sure the building is not necessarily cleared, but be sure users aren't crisscrossing when they don't have to. And also a reminder that anybody who has people coming into their facilities, or at least for these types of facilities in public use, need to keep a record of those entering the facility for the purpose of contact tracing. And as far as hockey and figure skating and things like that, is typically the responsibility of the sport organization, but it should be mentioned in our municipal policy. So that's the information that I have to date I wanted to share.
Okay, thank you for that, Gail. Yes. There's quite a few different items we have to balance here, especially considering, so I'm just, from those recreation guidelines, we should be keeping track of people that are utilizing the canteen then.
Yes, and we are.
Okay.
She is.
Okay, great. Good. Okay, I open it up. Judy, would you like to speak?
Sure, why not?
Okay, yes, great. Go ahead, Judy, the floor is yours.
Okay, so as of right now, we're thinking about maybe opening January to March. Fundraising is a problem. You know, to deplete our resources from this year and not be able to fundraise for next year, that's a real problem. Of course, again, the gym being in our club room is a problem, and it doesn't look like anything's happening there very soon. Anyway, whatever, such as it is. We're looking, if we open, we would certainly open with a guaranteed number of curlers, a certain, you know, just throwing it out there, 6 teams times 4, 24 people, and they would have to pay up front, and we would have to have that guaranteed money coming in to, because that's a small part of the fundraising that we do every year. We also do some with the logos, which would give us a little bit of income. Chances are we're probably not going to have any bond spiels, or, you know, you don't really make that much money with you know, 20 or 30 curlers up at the club. Other clubs are using waivers to sign, and we may possibly be doing that. There's a total of 3 waivers other clubs are signing, so that may be something that we will do as well. And we're not sure about what's going to happen in the lobby. As the curling club is closed, we're not going to be using the club room. We're not going to be using the locker rooms. If we do go ahead, people will have to schedule. I'll have to work with the lead hand to get people up to get their stuff. If they want to curl, they'll have to come ready to curl. And I guess we'll be putting our shoes on the ice surface. But there could be a bit of problem with the lobby, especially if minor hockey opens, curling opens, and then the business from the canteen all at the same time. At least maybe the sports people between hockey, say maybe there was hockey going on at 6:30, and then curlers could come in to curl at 7, where they're off at 7:30, we're off at 8:30. Like, I don't know. I think a schedule so that there's not a lot of people in the lobby. It's going to be hard to maintain social distance there. The lobby's pretty small. I did send you, I sent Gail, I don't know if the council has received our proposal to open. And that's taking from Curling Canada, the Porcupine Health Unit, the Government of Ontario, all these factors that we need to open. And I don't know whether, you know, if it'll be done or with, you know, who purchases all the, you know, hand washing things that we need. And one other thing is enhanced cleaning of the washroom, because it's a public washroom. Therefore, you know, the curlers and people coming to the canteen and the gym people are all using that washroom. So we need enhanced cleaning there as well, or at least some sort of spray that you can spray, you know, Lysol spray or something that people can use after each use, right? For whatever, you know, toilet seats and countertops and stuff like that. So those are my concerns right at this moment. And I don't know if anybody has anything to say about that.
Thank you, Judy. We did receive your proposal. So I've read it through. And when are you thinking of trying to, if you were to able to open for January 1st, when were you thinking to have the guaranteed people signing up? Like, when were you hoping to know that?
Oh,
apart from COVID or anything else happening?
At least a month before.
Okay.
So, because we need to put the ice in, right? So yeah, so we need to have people sign up and pay before they even step on the ice. So we would have a blitz out there and see if people are willing to curl and pay. The price is going to be the same as last year. It'll be $200 to curl for 3 months, and probably no bond spiel at the end. I don't know how people feel about that. The other thing is masks. My proposal was that we're not mandatory, but the township may make it mandatory on the ice. Some clubs are making it mandatory on the ice. We would certainly encourage masks everywhere. Coming in, going out on the ice. We're not, like I said, not making it mandatory, but certainly encouraging use of that. So if we start in January, the ice would have to be made in December, but we would know, you know, probably early December whether it's a go or not.
Okay.
With the number of curlers, with a certain number. So, and in the past we have gone with 6 teams to curl, which is 24 curlers. Now we do have other curlers that come and go. You know, and we would certainly put the rules out online, and if anybody wanted a copy of them, not on Facebook, they could certainly, we could get a copy of them as well, and hopefully everybody will follow the rules.
Okay, Judy, do you mind taking a few questions? I'll open the floor up to council.
No problem.
If they have any questions for you.
Sure.
Do any of our council have questions for Judy? No? Okay. No, there's no questions right now, Judy. And the one question I did have from myself when I was reading, is it going to be difficult for some of the members because it's only going to be one sweeper? Is that what I'm reading, correct?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
That's from Curling Canada.
Okay, so I guess that'll be, once that's rolled out, people decide whether they want to. Has there been any talk about that amongst the curlers so far, of how people are feeling about the curling restrictions to the actual game?
To tell you the truth, I don't know if anybody's even looked it up yet. So.
Okay. Okay.
Whenever I ask, and yeah, when I ask people, they haven't really. They're waiting to see what we're going to do, and of course we're going to follow the rules like everybody else and institute that. So yeah, one curler, one sweeper, and if you have a mask on and you find it difficult to sweep with the mask, then you just stop sweeping. If you decide to wear it out on the ice, like it's not, you know, people have to give an extra push, I guess, that's all. Okay. On the rock. Yeah. So it's going to be quite different this year.
Yes, yes. Have you had discussions with the club about if you totally weren't to open this year, what that would do to the club?
We have, yes.
Yeah.
at this point, we're not sure what, if, I mean, we're looking to open. If we don't open, then we don't pay any rent. So, you know, we just don't open and then just go back at it next year, I guess.
Okay, okay.
I don't know where that leaves us. Like, I don't know what the, I mean, our fee has been, I think, 160 a day for the last 3 years, at least, I think. I don't know whether you're going with the same fee or you're going to be raising it. And, you know, I based the numbers on 3 months of curling. You know, we might extend an extra week. I don't know, depending on when well, it doesn't really matter, I guess. If we can't have a bonspiel, it doesn't really matter. We can finish the end of March. So.
Yeah, so many things in the air. Councillor Stefanik?
Yeah, just a comment towards Judy. Realizing that the main foyer is a lot of congestion. If both sports, hockey and curling club go ahead, I would respectfully suggest once the hockey participants are done to go through the side door of the arena to exit, not go back into the main foyer and exit the facility. There's double doors.
The hockey could do that, right? Yes, of course.
There's double doors.
Yes.
So that will limit the 50%, in my opinion, congestion in the main foyer. Thank you.
Good idea. Good idea. Yeah. And I know the gym is booked. They are booked for each person that goes in. They have an appointment time. So there should only be one person coming in at a time, I would think. I don't know if they book 6 people out at the same time. I don't know. But maybe they come in and, you know, whatever. So it's just the congestion in the lobby I was worried about. That's all.
Is it feasible, I'll put this out to the staff, is it feasible for us to set up some sort of glass barrier or plexiglass barrier between that side entrance door and the weight room? So curlers could come in that side entrance or at least exit out of there? In the curling club, the far end of the staircase, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, at the
Right
far
to
end. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Call on Dwayne for that.
Well, it's just something to think about in our plans. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's doable.
It's doable? Okay, so that would create some extra safety measures so people are, because we have to really, my understanding too is, Gail, we have only 50, we're only allowed 50 people in the entire facility, correct?
Well, you could have 50 on the ice surface and you can't have 50 in
No,
the
32,
fitness
Gail.
facility. What's
I
that?
think you can have 32 or 34 people on the ice. That's it.
Okay, well then maybe that's different.
You,
maybe Curling Canada has
eight. That's 4 games with 4 people on each team. Yeah, whatever. 8 people on each ice times 4 is 32. 32 on the ice surface, 50 in the club. But I mean, we're not going to have 50.
But you could have potentially 50. Like the ice surface is a separate space than the club room. So if you had a club room and you could do physical distancing, you could have up to 50 people in each section if they need to be there. Yes.
Okay,
so you don't need 50 people for 4 teams, but
okay, so the clarification then, just to clarify, so if we could have 50 people utilizing the arena side and 50 people utilizing the curling club rink and curling club room.
Yes,
and you can also
but the ice surface is different, right? You can have 50 in the club and 32 on the ice.
And you can have 50 on your arena ice if there's space for that, and you could have 50 spectators in that section if there is space to do the physical distancing. So up to 50.
Okay. And I don't think we have the space in the club for 50 people social distancing, but that's anyway.
Okay. Let's continue. I don't have any further questions for you, Judy. Do you have any other further comments?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Not at this time. I'll keep you posted as to how things are going. And I will be posting things to see whether there are people interested in curling, and this is how it's going to be. And if they want to curl, fine. Other clubs, people have chosen not to curl. this year because of COVID and the risk, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, we're okay here so far. There's no cases, but we don't know what's coming, so.
Yeah, it's so unpredictable, and we just
Yeah.
like there's another case today in Timmins. We're at 77, and yeah, it seems like the cases are slowly rising around us as well. Like down in the south, they're jumping. But okay, well, we'll open up to the floor for further discussion. Thank you, Judy, and
Okay, thank you.
To stay online with us.
Yep, will do.
I have one question. Just did we end up receiving anything official from any of the ice surface users of the arena side? I know I'm just wondering if there was anything last minute today.
I have not received anything, no.
Okay. Go ahead, Drago.
Thank you. I read about 45 minutes ago, I read one of the newspapers of Southern Ontario, because of a major spike in COVID-19 in the last 4 days in Southern Ontario. The Ford government might reduce the number from 50 to lower for indoor facilities and from 100 lower for outdoors. So it's another thing to keep in mind. I just read it about 45 minutes ago. Nothing was confirmed, but they're looking at it. Thank you.
And Mayor Fort, may I jump in here? This is Michael. I'm just on my phone.
Yes,
so I
go
hope
ahead,
that you
Michael.
can hear me okay. Sure. I
Yes,
just really briefly, you can throw me back in whenever you like. I just did want to mention on the outdoor that we have done a little bit of research on the possibilities of having an outdoor rink or arena. So that's something that people can keep in mind for the discussion as well, that's something that might be possible for the municipality. And obviously we need a lot more concrete information to get to council to make a decision on that. But there are, nearby municipalities that do run outdoor rink programs that are in various ways supported by the councils of the area. So there are different options that we can use there, and that might be something that the community would like to see, to have something to sort of fall back on if the arena does have a lot of difficulties running over the winter, or it might not. It might be something that they're not sort of interested in at all. So if you'd like any more information about that, then I'll be here on my phone.
Thank you, Michael. Yes, that is. If any of the residents want to speak to that about having an outdoor rink, at our last meeting when we had the report, I can refer back to it. I was looking at it today. Just give me 1 second. That with the addition of an outdoor rink, we would still have a savings, I think, of 27,000. Oh, sorry, I'm not finding the page.
I think 26,000.
26. Are you on, what page are you on, Gail? I know I saw it today. I was just reading it. Oh, here we go.
I'm actually not on a page.
Oh, okay, sorry. Oh, I know where it was. It was right at the end. It was in the recommendation. That's where it was. Yes. So one of the financial considerations, the recommendations that we have been considering is that that there would be approximately savings of 26,000 if the arena is not open this season, and this is including the cost of an outdoor rink. So I'm right in saying that we would still save approximately 26,000 and we could do an outdoor rink, correct? Yeah. So if there's any comments on that. And just one for the senior management team, I'll put this through you, Gail, to who could answer best. The outdoor rink, would that include any boards or anything that we would, some infrastructure that we would buy that we could use in the future?
Wayne, did you want to respond to that?
Yeah, I do not believe any of the boards would be covered in that cost. That's just putting the rink in.
Okay, okay.
Snowbank edges, basically.
Snowbank edges, and we were looking at putting that at the arena, correct?
That would be the most feasible spot, yes.
Okay, I open the floor up to any other, okay, go ahead, Shannon.
I know we were also looking at lighting as well. That could be portable lighting, and then that lighting can be used in the future as well for other projects.
Okay, so potentially the 26,000 in savings could be used for buying some infrastructure, some lighting and some boards and that sort of thing.
I think that cost of 26,000 included an allowance to buy things like that.
Okay, so it included that. So that was above the 26? Okay, okay.
If I could just say, if there was no outdoor rink, and of course these are just kind of estimates because we've never done that before, but we think that if the arena was not opened and if there was no outdoor rink, there'd be a likely savings of 36 to 37,000.
Okay. And there would be likelihood a rise in the cost of operating the facility though too, correct?
Possibly, or it just might be, things might be spaced out a little more. I mean, we would need to do more cleaning, but you could just maybe adjust the schedules for that as well. And some of those expenses could go towards our COVID expenses, but that I don't know how far that would take us. So there's that to think about as well. I'm not sure if Dwayne, you can think, or Melissa, you can think of, Stacy, any of you, if you could think of other added expenses that might be entailed. We're already employing somebody to man the fitness center. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head.
No, I can't think of extra expenses either.
So, and then any of the extra expenses though, even if our COVID funding that we did receive don't cover those, we still can track that for our whole COVID expenses that we've been tracking, correct? We'll keep that going. Okay. Council, do you have any comments so far? Any of the other councillors, Drago, Peter, Belinda? Peter, go ahead.
You hear me, Madam Mayor?
Yes, I can, sir.
Yeah, just depending on the numbers, of course, because right now the numbers for minor hockey are not looking too large. But I believe that more and more are going to sign up as time goes by because I think people are nervous. And if it's at all possible, I would like to see the even at just a shortened season, the arena as well as the curling club open this year. If we can do it safely and follow the guidelines. One of my biggest reasons for this is I'm hoping that the pandemic will be over by next year. And if people don't do any curling or don't participate in hockey or any of the other sports, we may lose the interest of the youth as well as some of the adults for the following year. And it's going to hurt us in the long run.
Okay, thank you for that. I have to, at one point I'm going to attribute this to Judy's comment of having a shortened season from January to March, and now with yourself, Peter, saying about the hockey, it might give us time as well to really see if there is a huge second wave. And then we can plan for that. And then that should, they're saying from our meetings with the CCG, that's looking at the middle of October into the middle of November of that peaking. So go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to tag in on to Gail's comments about facilities. As you know, I keep a close eye on City of Timmins. City of Timmins allowed one of the arenas will allow lady ringette to occur. But the rules are the ladies must come dressed in their car, put their skates on with guards on in the parking lot, go into the facility, do their activity, and exit. And getting other particulars, I'm waiting for them. I'm not sure if they can use the washrooms. I'm not, but all I know, they have to be dressed, ready to go onto the ice and leave the facility when they're done. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Yes, and I believe hockey is the same. It'll be dressed. You have to be dressed ready to go to play hockey. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to open up the floor. We still have 25 minutes, and I do appreciate our residents being on board and coming and listening and giving us your opinion. And these are unprecedented times. We're making decisions about things of the unknown, and I thank you all for participating. And I open the floor back up to any further comments on this issue from residents. I would like to, as people are thinking about some comments or things they'd like to say, I would like to say that we did receive a fairly strongly written letter from a resident member in favor of complete closure of the facility this year. And this resident, they are users, they are a family, they are users, active users of both arena and curling club side, and just gave some strong language to why they or have this opinion, but want the facility to be used in the future. I think there maybe was under the impression that there would be bigger savings than what it would be. I know in our report that was given out, in the total expenses of the arena for 2018-2019 were just under 220,000, and last year 2019-2020 were just under $238,000. So as you have seen and heard through this meeting, although even if we don't open, there's still substantial expenses that will be incurred. The savings will be about 37,000. And we'll have, if we do an outdoor rink, it'll be approximately 26,000. So one other, I'm still watching for unmuted mics as I speak. The other thing I'm wondering, is there any projects that we could do while the arena, if we were to shut the arena for the winter? Is there any projects that could be done?
We're still waiting to hear back from our rec grant before we actually move into the construction phase of our renovations for the upper level, which still needs to be engineered as well. We are looking at working with a local resident to have some refurbished fitness equipment placed into the fitness center. That's in the works right now, so that could potentially be a place where the work could be done if it's not open. I'm not sure, Dwayne, if there's specific things that you may be more front of mind for you than they are for me, but I'm sure if we had some time to think about it, there's probably several things that could be done.
Okay, thank you for that, Gail. Any other comments? Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I take it upon myself, as always, I like to get a pulse of the community. So if I could walk through this about 4-minute item. I conducted a survey for the arena use for the 2020-21 season. I spoken to 20 individuals who were asked. It was a verbal survey between September 7th and September 16th. That was this morning, 9:30, the last question. That was 10 days. Simple question was, do you wish to have the arena open for 2020-21 season? I want some caveats. All survey participants were over 18 years of age. A cross-section of ages and gender participated. No municipal staff was asked. I don't want to skew the information. And as an interviewer, I had no influence or input in participants' response. This are the results. Definitely not, there was 28 people interviewed. Definitely not, do not open. 12 out of 28 said do not at 42.85%. Did not care either way, 6 out of 28, 21.42. Open with extreme protocol, in our facility, specifically the arena, 9 out of 28, 32.14. One stayed neutral, 1 out of 28 was at 3.57. Total survey was 99.98%, plus or minus of error 0.02. Footnotes. When they said extreme COVID-19 protocols, 100% every possible protocol to be engaged. The person that stayed neutral, the comment was made, if the council proceeds, he likes to see a COVID agenda on behalf of municipal council or rules and regulation. That individual make a decision then if they wanted to see the arena open, not prior to seeing the rules that we as a municipality will set to have the arena open. And that was basically, so 42.85, do not, don't care, 21.42, open, operate, extreme protocols, 32.14. It was interesting. It was a cross section right across the municipality. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Stefanik, and for reaching out to your residents. Interesting. I want to open up the floor again to our residents that are online with us. Cindy, go ahead. Cindy Craig, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Cindy. You're welcome. The floor is yours.
Thanks. I'm just wondering, is the northern store usable?
In what regard, Cindy?
Well, I'm just wondering if the arena wasn't to open, could the northern store be used for ball hockey for the kids?
I think in the regards of the northern store, there's no washroom facilities or anything in there, and there's no windows. I could see that problematic. It could be a discussion of our senior management team to look at. But if we weren't to open up the arena, I don't see why the arena surface wouldn't be able to be used for ball hockey.
Right.
Any comments from the senior management team?
Yeah, like if they didn't put any ice in the arena, and that's a a money saving thing, then maybe like in the arena they could play like the floor hockey also instead.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think we'd probably want to keep the facilities up at the arena being utilized if we utilize them, and yes.
Okay.
But your comments, we'll definitely look at that. But thank you for those comments,
Okay.
Cindy.
Thanks.
Yeah, just one further, I just want to put with the comment of the northern store, we don't have any running water or any washroom facilities in there. And part of the COVID procedures is hand washing and providing those services. And I would just be concerned of, even if we could provide alcohol wiping and that of hands, how do we provide the service to clean the facility? So I think we could, I love the idea of utilizing our playing ball hockey, and if we could utilize the arena surface if we don't have ice there. Of course, users would have to come dressed because it would still be cold. It's still winter. But yes, go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
I like the idea because Councillor Peter mentioned if I have a short season, which I agree with as well, have the preseason, which is much cheaper, to run from, say, October to probably end of November, just ball hockey, floor hockey, whatever indoor, and still provide the facility, and then have, if everybody decides, have it the hockey season in January to March. And I like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stefanik. On that note, I'll put this to Gail. Would it be problematic? How long does it take to put the ice in? And would that be problematic to have the ice put in, say, over Christmas? Like, I don't want to, or in December, early January?
I think it's about seven days or so, Drago. Was that's about, yeah.
Yeah, they're much quicker now. Yep. You're great now.
Okay, we still have a few more minutes. Go ahead, Councillor Kissmaker Peter.
I've seen Amanda.
And then I'll go to Belinda. Sorry, Peter, you're frozen.
Thanks, Peter.
Oh, okay, Amanda. Sorry, Amanda, I didn't see your microphone.
That's okay. I was being patient. I honestly, I'm a little confused. I can honestly say I haven't stayed up to date, so I don't know where you guys are at with planning. So I had popped on tonight just to find out where things are at. I have 2 boys in hockey and I curl. So I was popping on just to kind of find out where everything was at. I did do some reading with Hockey Canada and I was pretty confused. It kind of says, you know, I felt like everything said we will follow local health guidelines. So I'm like, well, I want to be safe. I want my kids to have something to do, you know, like everybody said, if we're still safe. But what does that look like? So that's kind of what I was wondering. I do like, I think what Drago and Peter said about the shorter season, at least they would have something. But I also understand and respect what you guys are talking about financially, you know, what that looks like. So I just kind of confused, but I wanted to just jump on and say that's kind of where I'm at as a parent is, you know, I want my kids to get to enjoy hockey safely. I also want you guys to get to continue to provide these sorts of services for us. So, you know, if we were to have hockey, and I'm going to be optimistic and say that's not going to get shut down because of COVID. But I mean, if that is the case, you know, is it worthwhile? So I just kind of, like I said, I popped on. I don't know where you guys are at. I don't know if it's depending on numbers as a decision. But yeah, I just wanted to give a bit of a feeling from the community, I guess.
Yes, and that's basically, Amanda, you've come on at a great time. So what has happened is the senior management team at the township put together a report at the beginning of August for us for our, and we had that report tabled at August the 24th meeting, but they've been talking about this since late July, about possibly providing, we're all up in the air of what would be allowed by the province at that time. We've just started, as you know, with the schools, things were rolling out as they kind of happened, which we were trying to stay abreast of. We wanted to have things ahead of time, options. And so we got the report. We discussed having an outdoor rink, what it would look like if we closed the arena, and basically to put it out into the community that, you know, town council is taking this serious. We're taking your safety serious. But we also know that our winters are long and we need recreation. So how do we do this and how do we balance? I think too, if the numbers come, the call will definitely be put out. I know I will encourage that today at our meeting when we're wrapping this up, that the numbers for the users, especially for Hornpain Minor Hockey, to come forward and say that they have so many people that they are going to use the facility. And then that would really dictate a lot of it as well. But we don't want to open a facility that would be underutilized and isn't, and find out after the ice is put in and that sort of thing. Just like it would follow the same awesome protocols that the curling club is talking about kind of prepaid. We know who's going to commit to the year, and then we'll run the facility as that. So these are all conversations we're having, but yeah, that's where we're at, Amanda. It's not, we haven't this is our second council discussion on this. So, and I thank you for commenting. So one question, Amanda. So just by your comments, you feel adequately safe with in our community to have your children in hockey?
I think at this point in time, I would feel adequately safe putting my kids in hockey. But like I said, with that Hockey Canada guidelines and website, it was just kind of confusing what hockey would actually look like. So it's like you said with school, right? I had to make that decision. The survey came out. Are you going to put your kid in school or not? And you had to give a yes or no, but you really didn't have the information. So I think that's where everybody's at. You guys, curling, Hockey Canada, nobody's been through this before. So it's kind of like trying to figure it out, but how do you make that decision without all the information?
Yes, exactly. Gail, did you want to speak?
I did. I just wanted to, I agree with Amanda that the information out there is confusing. It seems like Hockey Canada is saying something different than NOHA, which is saying something different than Ontario Hockey Association. Everybody, they haven't really gotten together and have one clear direction for everybody. So, I mean, I don't know the documents, well, but I just know that things I've looked at have not necessarily been inconsistent, but they just don't jive together so well. So it is confusing, and it does make it hard. It would be so much easier if somebody, whether it's the province or whether it's the health unit or whether it's whoever's in charge of hockey overall, would just come out with a directive and everybody follows it or doesn't follow it. I just wanted to say that you're not alone, Amanda, that it is confusing for sure.
Thank you, Gail. I think earlier, Belinda, did you want to speak, Belinda? Councillor Kistemaker? You're okay? Okay. So I'm going to put the last call out for any community members that would like to speak. And then council's going to have a discussion of everything we've heard, and you're welcome to stay on during that discussion. But I am going to close down the public portion unless I see anybody that would like to speak. Okay, so not seeing anyone, I want to thank everyone for participating. So now this portion of the meeting will go back to our regular council meeting, and council, we will have a discussion about what we've heard and what we'd like to move forward, how we will move forward on this. So to start, I guess the first question I have to council is, after hearing everything, reading the letters we received in the report, what would be a general feeling for operations this year? What are some of the items that you would like to see? Belinda, go ahead. Councillor Kistemaker.
I personally feel that I don't have enough information to make a decision. I don't know. I like to know when Judy was talking about how many members were going to curl. I like to know what those numbers are. We haven't heard from anyone from minor hockey at all, and they're the ones that use the ice surface the most. Even like people going for figure skating, we don't even know if there's anyone really interested in that. And if I don't know how we can make a decision if we don't know how many people are going to use the facility. And my other thing is maybe this, if we do know the numbers and the numbers aren't there, maybe this is an opportunity for us to try something different within the community, such as the outside rink, which we talked about, and maybe outdoor activities such as, should we be renting skis and snowshoes to get people out, or using our trails? Should we be motivating and getting people to use the trails, that kind of thing. So that's just my point of view.
Thank you, Belinda. No, it's appreciated. It made me think of a bunch of other things as you were talking. So yeah, so I am in agreement with the numbers. We need to know the numbers. Peter or Drago? Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think this all points actually, because the numbers are unknown. I think everything points out, as Councillor Peter said, shortened season. I'm seeing a shortened season more clearly now. On the protocols on COVID-19, this is my respectful suggestion. Since the city of Timmins will be opening up their arenas, they're much larger center, and they're going to have strict protocols. That I know. I didn't see them, didn't read them. Maybe you could reach out to them, and especially with Ladies Ringette, to see what they have set up. The clerk is Mr. Palmertier, Gail, and he's a very nice gentleman. Just to reach out, they could share their protocols of COVID-19, because it seems to me from Ladies Ringette, they're going to be pretty strict. So financial versus protocols. Two major things. Looks like to me a shortened season. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stefanik. I have to agree with the shortened season. My concern with the shortened season is it gives us a time to say this is when the surfaces will be open if the numbers predict that or say that. And then it'll get us through this potential time that could, where we could have a second wave. And we haven't invested in an ice surface yet. That's my thoughts on it. But go ahead, Councillor Kistemaker. Go ahead, Peter.
I agree with you, Madam Mayor. That's I agree with that. It'll give us a shortened season. We'll still get the kids on the ice potentially, and also will give us the time to see if, like you just said, if we invest the money, then the second wave comes, then we can't use it. It gives us time to get both numbers and more facts. So yes, exactly what you said. I back that up wholeheartedly.
Okay, great. So we definitely need. We're going to, then we'll have to make a call then on a date to get the numbers. Like we'll have to make a cutoff time. We only have one meeting in October and then again in November. I think November would be too late. So we will have to cause some people to make some movement. Go ahead, Gail.
So just a couple of things that our lead hand has been in contact with minor hockey, and it has been suggested for them to come forward and try to get some commitment from their members. So I'm assuming they're working on that internally, but everybody was aware of the meeting and whatnot. So I think they just probably haven't been able to decide yet. It was one thing. And the other thing, oh boy. I just wanted to remind you to set a timeline to accept comments following the meeting.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Gail. Yes, we had closed comments for the timeline for this as of noon today, but we have council, if we would like, we can extend those, especially if we're going to have this topic again on our next meeting. I'm not sure how. Do you have a suggestion, Gail, on when to extend the timelines to?
I'm thinking it would be good to have that like by the 14th of October, and then we would have that information for our October 21st meeting.
Okay. Councillor Stefanik? Sorry, Peter. Okay, Councillor Peter Kistemaker.
Would it be possible to Judy Mann to provide the names of people that curled last year? And I believe it may be Heather Dorian that used to be she was in charge of the HCR for minor hockey. I mean, we called all the seniors. I mean, if we take it amongst ourselves, that list will be a lot smaller. We can take it upon ourselves to maybe contact the individuals that actually utilize the arena and the curling club and get the numbers quicker that way, just to get a faster response.
So you're suggesting that councillors would call everyone?
Councillors, I mean, if we could do it at night or something, I'd be willing to call 20 people if I had to, like we did with these seniors, just to get the thing in motion, because I really believe it's very important that we overlook this and we don't take anything for granted. I feel that there is a modified need for this facility, but again, I might be talking out of turn because there might be very few numbers that actually want to utilize it. So it might be all for nothing. It's just that we need. I agree with what Gail says. It's a shortened timeline. We need to know for sure by certain dates before we start making any plans.
Yes, and I'm looking at the dates. Our November meeting is what date, Gail?
I don't have that with me. Shannon, do you know?
Yes, I can look. Just one second. I believe it's the 21st, but I'll just double check here.
Okay.
Yeah, wait, that's October's. November's is the 18th.
The 18th, okay. So potentially we could have time if we were going to put the ice in for a January start after the 18th of November to make a decision.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if we put a strong call. I'm not opposed to calling. I'm not opposed to that, but I know for my schedule right now, it's full. And I wouldn't want to take on the responsibility of Hornpain Minor Hockey Association. Go ahead, Gail.
I'm just wondering if we might run into some privacy issues there.
Oh, yes.
I don't really know if that's appropriate to be sharing information of who participates in what activities and passing that on to other people.
Right.
That would concern me.
But I'm wondering if we did put a strong message that this is going to be discussed at October 21st at council, and council is going to decide what we're doing this season, and we need the numbers. And that might give the association time, because as all associations with everyone, we're all under this stress, and we weren't, everything abruptly ended on March 13th, and now we're trying to figure out how to restart. So it's not like, I totally understand that everyone is having, like when we think back to town council back in March and April, it was crazy times. So now we have organizations trying to come back on board and reading all these protocols, and they're changing by the day, like Councillor Stefanik had mentioned, and I had heard this today in a meeting as well, that the numbers may decrease. They may go back to the what you're allowed in a room will decrease from 50, and outdoors even decrease from 100. So that potentially could happen. Gail, go ahead.
So, I mean, we can easily reach out, as a township can easily reach out to each user group and ask them to survey their members and to secure a commitment from them, and whatever type of commitment that council would like to see, that's what we can ask for by whatever date, whether it's the October 14th date or the 11th of November, whatever you decide. And then that way, they pursue their own members.
Yes, and I'm thinking we should stick to the October 21st date, because if we don't have a commitment, then I would like council to have opportunity to go with Belinda's suggestion, that then we do some creative outside the box thinking on what we could do. Like either we're going to do that outdoor rink, or we're going to buy some snowshoes and skis or that sort of thing, and encourage people. We want our residents to be active and healthy. That's the best thing for community. So that gives us opportunity. I'm not sure, council, does that seem like when we're looking at planning ahead, so we give our users time until the October 21st meeting, we extend the date to the 14th for comments for the entire community, and we will have numbers by then. We can make a better informed decision. And do we want to propose in the letter, council, that we will have a shortened season? We're proposing that we will open from December 1st to the end of March. Yes, I'm seeing two.
Yes.
And Peter, yes, okay. Okay, and we can include that in the letter of what we're offering. Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Through you, Mayor, thank you.
Yes.
I really liked Councillor Belinda's idea. I didn't have a chance to speak on it. I like this because it's outdoors. There's less chance of catching COVID-19. It could be spread out different parts of the municipality, as she said herself, ski trails, snowshoeing. I really like that idea. Further, while this is happening now, we're waiting for the groups to respond. I think if, through you, Mayor, to the CAO, I think maybe you should reach out to different municipalities, and if whoever has the COVID-19 plan set for the arena curling club, maybe to work as a team. So that comes to us at the same time as the groups are coming to us. We could have something in writing, we could approve, and we don't put the rush on the staff to chase everything last minute. So I think they work hand in hand, participation and rules. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree, Drago. And the other thing too is we have a meeting coming up for our mayor's meeting has been scheduled for the beginning of October, we could have a discussion, just a roundtable there to see what all the communities are doing. And that would be in time for our meeting as well, I believe, eh, Gail?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes?
And I do have some policies already from various places that are that have set them already. I have some of their draft policies, and I will follow up certainly with the City of Timmins as well.
Okay. So I'm going to put the question to staff. Gail, do you have enough information now to be prepared for our next meeting? Is there anything that council you'd like council to decide on tonight, or any further guidance?
Just what type of commitment are you looking for the 14th? Are you just looking for them to say, yes, we've surveyed and 75% are interested, or do you want the cash up front? I mean, it's kind of hard, I guess, because things can change so quickly, but just so if there's a clear direction for what is expected.
Okay. Does any councillor have any thoughts on this? I do have a thought, but I'm thinking, Gail, that we get the numbers of commitment without payment, but then in the letter say that if the numbers are showing that we would want the full commitment by the November council meeting. And then because that council meeting, we will decide on November the 18th, the direct go ahead from there. Like the ice will be going in after that if we're putting in ice, or if we're purchasing equipment or what have you. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Would you also have the attendance from last year's minor hockey 2019-2020? So that'll give me a benchmark what the numbers are coming in at, so I could have some comparison, please.
Yes, we can obtain that. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, so before we wrap up, is there any further comments on this topic from council? Okay, I want to thank everyone for the lively discussion on this and that the participation. And as always, we want to work together to build our community. So if there's nothing more that you need, Gail, we can move on.
Just unless I missed it, did you set a cutoff time?
October 14th.
For the comments as well?
Yeah, October 14th.
It's going to be that as well? Okay.
Yes, that I would rather just go with your recommendation, just your staff would put it together for us, so. Okay, council, you're good with October 14th?
The thing is though, if we're
okay.
also compiling comments, we're going to need them earlier. If you're just looking for responses from the 3 or 4 groups, that's one thing, but if we're compiling you know, if we get 15 or 20 extra comments in, we're going to need them before that, because that's when everything's due for the agenda.
Okay, no, that would be fine. Whatever date, so where would you like that date, Gail? So that I don't want to overwhelm staff, and so would it be the Monday or the Friday?
Like even September 30th or something like that. I don't know what day of the week that is, but it's a good, easy date to remember.
Yeah. September 30th is a Wednesday.
That works for me. If you think that's fair.
That's 2 weeks from now. That's 2 weeks of extension for comments. So we've left the comment period basically open for a month. I'm okay with that, council. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. We have so many things on the go that we want to make sure we're managing the time right. And okay, if that's all done, then we're okay to move on.
Yep.
Okay, so moving on to our okay, 8 petitions, there's none. 9 disbursements, none. 10 managers report. If I can get a mover and a seconder for the resolution, please. Peter and Drago. Okay, moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by Drago Stefanik. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornpain does hereby acknowledge receipt of the manager's reports provided at the regular meeting of council held on Wednesday, September 16th, 2020. And I open up the floor to our CAO report. Gail, do you have anything you want to add to your report before I open it up for questions?
I do actually, a few things that have happened since I've written it. So we've decided, well, this was decided before, but we're putting out, if it hasn't gone out today, we will be putting out tomorrow some advertisement for the first annual Hazardous Waste Day in our community. So it's a one-day event. It will be October the 3rd. It's a Saturday, and everybody will bring their hazardous waste to the arena. It's an outside company that comes in and takes care of this for us. So in the documentation that will be going out, it will list the approved items and the ineligible items that you can do for that. Following that, we will be having a fall cleanup week. But what we thought we would do, being that the Share Shack is not open this year, is have a week or so where people can put their things out at the end of the driveway that they think that others may be able to use, and let it and by the way, this came in from a resident, a suggestion from a resident.
Oh, okay.
And we thought it was a good idea. So people can take and leave whatever they like, and then if it's still there, we haven't quite firmed up the dates yet, but if it's still there when cleanup week starts directly following that, then it will be taken away. So those details will come out in the next couple of weeks as well. And then just quickly, we had a meeting, 2 meetings today. One with MPAC, and we were discussing can't think of the word I'm looking for, strategies, I suppose, for looking at our assessment and our taxation. So we continue to work towards improvement on that. We also had a meeting with Municipal Affairs today on the same topic. So we've got some new ideas to investigate and some more ideas for our community improvement plan when that comes about in the next few months. We did our, can't read my own writing. We did some training for our fob keys that we'll be using at the fitness facility eventually. So that's looking good. That will save staff a lot of time and energy, and we'll be able to focus on other things. And we'll be providing notice to community members closer to the time when this is going to take place, so that you're aware of what transitions are going to be in place. That's all I had written down. If I think of anything else before we're finished, I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you for those additions. So I really like that idea of the leaving things at the end of the driveway. So I open the floor to council for any comments or questions for the CAO. Go ahead, Peter, Councillor Kistemaker.
Through you, Madam Mayor, Gail, all the brick from the CN buildings, I know that the Villeneuve was awarded the contract to come and demolish the station, CN station. Is that going in our landfill, or are they going to haul it by gondola somewhere else?
No, our landfill does not accept concrete or brick. Saying that, they've made other arrangements for that, but they are, there is going to be a site meeting arranged between Public Works Manager and Villeneuve. And they already know that part of it, but there's going to be other discussions about landfill and what can go and what can't. And as well as that, in addition to that, our EDO will be working with them as well to, as part of an HEDC initiative, to salvage some of the bricks and possibly other things to be used for future projects. And that was discussed with the HEDC quite some time ago. So those discussions will be ongoing as well.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Kistemaker. Any other comments for Gail? Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Through you to Gail. I'm quite excited about in your report regarding the ARDN. A little blurb, I don't know, 10 lines. I think that looks promising. If what they're saying, I think that's going to be very, very good for our community. I went online a little bit to look at it, but I think that's a right positive move, in my opinion. Thank you.
Yes, it's very exciting. Timely.
Yes, I agree. Any other comments or questions? It's been busy, even though we're in COVID, Gail. I salute you.
That's an understatement, but yes, it has. But we've got so many exciting projects going on, and we've got such big plans. Like it's busy, and it obviously gets stressful at times, but it's really positive stuff. Really positive stuff. Yeah.
Great, good. Okay, no further questions then. We'll move on to our Client Service Manager Treasurer's Report. Do you have anything that you'd like to add before I open up the floor, Melissa?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Okay. Council, any questions or comments? Councillor Stefanik?
Yeah, thanks for the report, Melissa. I see the biggest question from Melissa is in surplus properties and equipment, and she's asking the direct question of council what to do with the former Northern Store and the LCBO. I think it's a fair question. I'm also going to make a further comment to that. If we as a council decide to shut it down, no hydro, we know all about mold now, we know about mildew now, we know all about spores now. Something to really think about, because basically that building will be nil and nullified in 2 years. We already have LCBO, as a staff can confirm, with mold and spores. The other facility, Northern Store, we have improved it 98.5%, much better now than before. Something to really think about. Once we shut the power, hydro, heat, forget about even thinking about selling it. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you, Drago, on that of how long do we need, and I direct this, Gail, through you to your staff, to reasonably put it up for sale and have a time where people could actually look at buying it.
Well, I believe the ad is pretty much ready to go. And I mean, I look to Stacy maybe. I mean, if we can get the ad out in the next, 2-3 weeks or whatnot, it would be out, and the building doesn't really need to be heated or heated minimally, from May on. So, if you wanted to set a date to cut it off at all, like I'm thinking it would be kind of a year from now. Stacy, do you have any comments on that?
I think the situation of the Northern Store and the LCBO are very different. So the LCBO, we're selling as surplus, and we're selling a lot of surplus equipment. There's already mold in there, so I don't think we need to continue to heat that building whatsoever. That's just my opinion. But the Northern Store, we did put a lot of money into it. I think that council probably should set a timeline of how long they would like to leave that up for sale before they shut off the heat. So the ad is, Melissa and I have a meeting on Friday to just finalize a few things, and then that's ready to go. So probably if our meeting doesn't get canceled or moved, we should have that done Friday, and it should be up by Monday.
Okay, thank you for that information. That's good to know. So I know I'm probably putting you on the spot, Gail, for this, and your staff, I can't remember the figures offhand of how much it costs us to heat that Northern Store for one winter. Is it 25,000? Is it 5,000 a month, or?
Melissa can look that up.
You can look it up. Okay, thank you.
She's got 3 screens going tonight.
Yes, my daughter was home this summer and she suggested I get a second screen. I'm like, Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik, while we're waiting.
Yeah, regarding the temperature of a facility, I would actually check with a heating and plumbing company or heating and cooling company. They could tell you exactly the temperature that you keep in the facility that will prevent mold, mildew, or spores buildup. And it's not very high. I'm not going to say it, but because I'm not an expert on it, but it's not very high. And I think we should take that. We're an engineering firm, will cost a few dollars to tell us what they feel. So it's regarding the square footage, type of walls you have, materials you have with the walls, and it's surprisingly not high temperature. You have to keep the facility at. Thank you.
Melissa, did you find your numbers? No pressure, no pressure.
The problem is it was probably a mix of hydro and propane because it was switched. I can't remember really when it was switched, but there is some hydro as well. So she's got to look into the different accounts to see.
Yeah, just one on the call today with the Economic Developers Council of Ontario. There is monies available for repurposing business, and they're opening up new streams, and they're doing all these financial investments where a business may look at that building and find a good fit. And that's all brand new. They're just rolling them out.
So that would be private enterprise?
Private, yeah, it would be private. We'd have to sell it. It needs to be sold. Yeah, this would be private enterprise. Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If you have a potential buyer, I would offer a price that the buyer will not be able to refuse. That's at this point right now. Whatever the price, we could also hash it out, but if any decent price, we should jump on the idea immediately and let's have the facility sold. Thank you.
Yeah, and in the ad for the facility, are we listing all the improvements that have been done to it? Because we've put a brand new heating system in there and the air circulation system, or is it air conditioning? I'm not exactly sure of all the systems that have been put in.
Roofing?
The roof. Really, the structure, the integrity was tested.
I'm not really sure, but we'll certainly make sure that we've got some reference to that as well.
Okay.
Good point.
Oh, sorry, I'm just going to go to Melissa first, Councillor Stefanik. We'll get those numbers.
The hydro bill in 2019 was 12,101 and the propane was 21,000.
Okay. So we're looking at 33,000. So the question then to council is, do we, I'll go ahead, Belinda, Councillor Kistemaker.
I'm not willing to spend any more money on that.
Okay. When do we usually start heating it?
This year it's going to be very soon. Like October, really, October.
Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Kistemaker. Peter?
Yes, I would concur with Belinda on that one. I was under the impression it was already shut down. At the cost of $5,500 to heat it per month with the hydro combined, can't see even recouping the money. And without tax breaks and just the overall, we're talking about money, it's just such a large gamble that I don't believe us as a small community, we have the resources to gamble like that.
So the 33,000, that's for the full year of 2019. So we have incurred some expense from 2020. So if we were to, for 2020, it'll probably be close to 33,000 if we were to keep it open to the end of December. And that would give staff 3 months to try and have it sold, or 2 months if you put it up for sale. Are you looking up the numbers for 2020, Melissa? Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Yeah, you know, I give some thought to this, as both councillors did as well on this issue, and it's a financial issue. Yeah, I'll go along with both councillors. However, this is what I'm thinking. We should sell that facility at fire sale prices, all right? Now, I'm talking about dirt, low, cheap, get rid of it then. What you said, Madam Mayor, is basically just like you buy a house ready to move in. That's basically in that state. So we should promote that. And further, we should also say in our advertising that the heat will be shut off. So if people want to think about it, I think they should act on it if potential buyer wants to buy it. But I would certainly consider the lowest possible price to get the facility off our hands. And I will concur with the both councillors for this time regarding the facility. Thank you.
And I don't see a problem. I don't think there would be any freezing of pipes or anything for October. I'm going to put that out there to the public. That's my opinion. But so I don't see a problem with it being shut off of heat and then putting it up for sale. And then I agree with Drago. Put it out there that this is the facility, this is what it's worth, this is what we put into it, and we need it sold. Are we in agreement with that, council?
Agree.
In agreement, okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, I do have a resolution, a potential resolution. Where are we? Okay, well, there was 2 resolutions coming from your report, correct, Melissa? Yes, okay. Do we want to deal with those now, Gail? Yes?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so in your package, council, you have 2 resolutions. The first is the write-off of our property taxes. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Drago, Belinda. Okay, moved by Drago Stefanik, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the council, the corporation, the township of Hornpain does hereby write off the attached payment in lieu property taxes in the amount of $56,866.10 for water, sewer, and landfill operations in our municipality. Any comment on the motion? Okay, I bring it to a vote. Those in favor? And that's carried, none opposed. Okay, the motion for the properties, if I can get a mover and a seconder. Peter? And I would insert the date immediately, or that facilities would be, how would we word that?
We could just do it tomorrow's date.
Okay. Does that work? September the 17th? Is that tomorrow's date?
Yeah, yes, it is.
I've had too many dates in my mind here. Is council in agreement with, I have it moved by Peter. I need a seconder. Belinda? And then we'll have the date inserted of September 17th, 2020. Are we in agreement? Yes, okay. Okay, so moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Whereas the council, the corporation, the township of Hornpain has declared 36 Fifth Avenue as surplus property and has authorized the property to be placed up for public tender. And whereas council has also declared 180 Front Street as surplus property and has authorized the property to be placed up for public tender for sale, lease, or rental. And whereas council wishes to preserve the condition of the facilities to maintain saleability while permitting a reasonable yet fiscally responsible time frame for the advertisements to be circulated and for potential purchasers to review the sites. Therefore, be it resolved that the council, the corporation, the township of Hornpain does hereby agree to keep both facilities heated up until but no longer than September 17th, 2020. Is council good with that, the way that motion's read? Yes? Okay, I put it to the vote. Those in favor? And that's carried. None opposed. Okay, so moving on. Any other, we're still within Melissa's report. Are there any other comments or questions for Melissa? No, I don't think so. Okay, moving on. Thank you, Melissa. And we have our, I've lost my page. I'm thinking it's a Public Works Manager. Well. Yes, sorry, Mr. Goodrow, Public Works Manager. Do you have any questions or anything you'd like to add to your report before we start?
Nothing further to add as of right now.
Okay, thank you. I open up the floor to comments or questions from council. Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
For you to the Public Works Manager, when is the estimated time for the grant program approval through Infrastructure Canada? Any timelines, months, weeks, please?
I'd have to have that from Gail. I think it's November, but maybe Gail confirm that.
You're talking about the recreation grant that we
Yes.
applied for? I would expect to be hearing from that within the next month or two, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, did everyone hear Gail or was it just me that saw her frozen?
Okay.
Or am I frozen?
No, do you want me to repeat?
Yeah, could you repeat? I didn't hear what you said. You froze on my screen.
I just said that I would expect it within the next month or two.
Oh, okay. Any other questions for Dwayne? Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Yeah, under the action items, Dwayne, when you're saying they're assessing the road surface, what do you exactly mean by that, please? What entails to assess a road surface, please?
They're going to give us a visual survey of the roads, basically taking into account drainage, the surface of the roads, the condition. It's going to be a visual.
So if I follow up, please, through you, Mayor, there'll be no testing, drilling into the current existing asphalt?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other further questions for Dwayne? Okay, I don't have any, and I'm sorry I didn't attend your FOB training, but you can just tell me how it works when I get my FOB.
Sounds good.
Okay, I was literally meetinged out. Okay, let's move on then. If there's no further questions to the Economic Development Officer's report. Stacy, do you have anything to add before we open up the floor to questions or comment?
I would like to just comment. We had a meeting today, so it's actually my first somewhat public meeting today. Partners for Employment, 4 ladies came in today to meet with local employers and stakeholders just to explain the services that they had. The information was great, but there was only one actual local employer that showed up for the meeting. So it just, it kind of reinforces how maybe nervous or busy people are during COVID, because I think it's the first public meeting that's happened since March. So we had 4 staff from town council there and 1 local employer. And the other thing I would like to add is we did the AMO conference, and Cheryl and I I haven't been at a meeting since that. And I thought that was really, really successfully done. It was a little overwhelming because we had access to all content. The delegations went fantastic. And I really want a shout out to Gail for doing the delegation packages. They were really, really well received. And one of the really big benefits to that was Cheryl, she did a fantastic job speaking, and I hardly spoke, but I actually got to see when the ministers highlighted the delegation, when they wrote notes, how they reacted and what was important. So that actually made a really big difference. So that delegation package, I think, is essential. It was well done, very, very well received. And a shout out also to the mayor. She did a fantastic job selling the community. I mean, the staff actually was excited about Hornpain by the time we were done the 15 minutes. So that was really good. And we had one little hiccup with one of the ministers did a shout out to the community, and we didn't have the audio, but it was actually worked out fantastic. Our mayor again said to the staff, like, we need to get this minister back in here, and the staff member's face went white. She's like, I don't think that's gonna happen. They're so busy. And Cheryl's like, no, this is important. We need to get him back here. He's gonna think this is important. So reluctantly, the staff member sent off an email to Minister Clerk, and he actually did come back into the delegation room 2 hours later, redid the shout out to Hornpain. He was very happy to do it. And I said to Cheryl, best mistake ever. He will never forget us. So I think it was an excellent conference. The delegations were excellent. And I think they see how excited and how much improvements we're making in the community. And they can see that our council is very forward thinking. So our excitement is catching when we go to these meetings. I just wanted to kind of share that a little bit.
Thank you, Stacy. And I do thank Gail as well for the packages that were done. Superb job. And just to further that, we ended up having a roundup meeting on the Friday after AMO. Stacy, Gail, and I all met, and always looking at how to improve, how do we improve these packages, how do we improve our presentation. And I have to agree with Stacy, being in the two different types of delegations, in person and virtual, I am going to say that there is not much lost on virtual for what is gained, because we ended up opting to be in separate locations, Stacy and I, and that was so that our face, I wanted my face as close as I could to the monitor so that they could see me when I was talking, and I found it went really well. And hats off to Stacy for really commenting on what they were taking note of, and that is something we need to employ in all our delegations. We have to have one person assigned where they're just watching the reactions as whoever is talking or leading the delegation, how those ministers and their staff are reacting, because there was key words that were underlined as they were said, and where we hit, I guess, their targets or what they're looking for. So it was good. So if we have the opportunity in the future that we could save money by not having to travel down to AMO, but do these delegations through this, I don't think there's a loss to it. I think there's actually ways we could improve, even if we had, because you have 15 minutes, you could share a short video. I did ask later about if they could record them so we could use them as training for staff and for council on how to approach delegations. So overall, I thought it went really well. Just I want to add to Stacy's report, just as we're on this as well with AMO, overwhelming. The only downfall I found was networking was so difficult. Networking it really was lost. It was hard to network on a social platform like that. Yeah. But any questions? I don't want to take Stacy's report here. She has a full report. Any questions for Stacy? Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Yeah, through you, Mayor. Thanks for the report, Stacy. I'm glad that the Mayor presented our community very well. Nice to hear that. Also, I got to say, through you, Mayor, to Gail, remember, it's a top shelf report. This is the real top shelf, not the one we received 3 years ago for another person. This is quality report you put out. It's a catalog of catalog reports. I read it. I enjoyed it. I actually read it twice. It's a fantastic piece of information, documentation, and I thank you and congratulate you for excellent report, Gail. Thank you. And to Stacy, just the of judging of 3 amigos, 3 bears. I'm ready anytime. You know, I made a commitment 2.5 months ago. You just give me the go ahead when. Even if you don't have to meet together, if you whatever the committees are, we could email you confidentially. Whoever is in the committee, judging committee, directly to you, and you combine the information, the results, and go from there. Just a thought. Thank you.
So on that, if another council member, Belinda, John, or Peter would like to join as one of my judges, that would be fantastic. Anyway, you don't have to answer me now, but if you want to be one of my judges, very, very simple process. So if you're interested in doing that, just send me an email. Okay.
Thank you for that, Councillor Stefanik and Stacy. And is there any other questions for Stacy's report or comment? Gail, did you? Okay.
Yeah, I did. I just, I had a brief conversation with Stacy about the Three Bears contest yesterday, I think it was, but just, I kind of lost sight of the fact that it was actually an HEDC initiative rather than a township initiative, although we work together to do it and we're supportive of it. And now that Stacy has sort of transitioned from the HEDC to the township, she's really only working with this because they don't have any staff right now. So I'm just wondering if there are any other, or if there are any suggestions of how this should maybe be handled or finished up. I'm wondering if that should go to an HEDC meeting for that board to decide.
So I can comment on that a little bit. The HEDC has not had meetings since their staff went on maternity leave and then through COVID. So what was supposed to happen is at the following HEDC meeting after the closure of the contest, they were supposed to have two board members sit on the judging committee. So that hasn't happened. I'm not sure if they're looking at starting meetings again this September. So potentially what I could do is contact the chair and see if he himself could just maybe send out an email to the HDC staff and see if they want to put select judges that way, or if they want to change the procedure because of COVID.
Okay, yeah, I like that idea. Oh, we're getting a thumbs up from Belinda as well, yeah. And I'm not opposed to having a roundup meeting where we have a discussion on it too. And however, just to gain some excitement and then figure out how we're going to launch these names too and put these bears into celebrity mode. Oh, what do you got? You're on mute. You're on mute, Stace.
So we have the bears here for the winners. And
do they have horn paint shirts on?
They have shirts on, and I'm actually getting the Centre of Ontario transfer for the shirts that go on the bears, and they're at whatever the winning names are. So when we find out what their names are, they'll have a little T-shirt on that has the Centre of Ontario on the front and the new name of each of the bears. We have the big bear and the two little tiny ones for the winners of the contest. So they're so cute.
Right on.
And by the way, you're going to launch the.
Oh. I don't know. Today I've been told I'm going to do lots of things. Anyway, that's great. Okay, so we'll probably have an update of that at the next October meeting. Okay, great. Okay, any other questions for Stacy's report? Okay, I don't see any. So I'm going to put the acceptance of the reports to a vote. Those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you, everyone. Okay, we're going to move on to 11 action items. I need a mover and a seconder for the support of City of Owen Sound. Peter. I don't want to jinx myself, but I practiced this many, many times today. I even had to get Gail to help me with pronunciation. Okay, moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Whereas Council received correspondence from the City of Owen Sound requesting support for Private Members Bill M36, Emancipation Day. And whereas the private members bill put forward by MP for Richmond Hill, Maja Jawari, M36, Emancipation Day, 43rd Parliament, first session reads as follows, that the House recognizes that A, the British Parliament abolished slavery in the British Empire as of August 1st, 1834, and B, slavery existed in British North America prior to the abolition of 1834. C, abolitionists and others who struggled against slavery, including those who arrived in Upper and Lower Canada by the Underground Railway, have historically celebrated August 1st as Emancipation Day. D, the Government of Canada announced on January 30th, 2018 that it would officially recognize the United Nations International Decade for People of African Descent to highlight the important contributions that people of African descent have made to Canadian society and to provide a platform for confronting anti-Black racism. E, the heritage of Canada's peoples of African descent and the contributions that they have made and continue to make to Canada, and the opinion of the House, the government should designate August 1st of every year as Emancipation Day in Canada. And whereas Council believes in a society free of slavery, therefore be it resolved that the Council, the Corporation, the Township of Hornpain does hereby support the City of Owen Sound's request, and that support for this motion will be forwarded to Carol Hughes, MP, Algoma, Kapuskasing, Manitoulin, and the City of Owen Sound. Any comments on the motion? Okay, I'll put it to the vote. Those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, 11.2, if I can get a mover and a seconder for support of Wes Gray, Drago, and Belinda. Moved by Drago Stefanik, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Whereas the Council, the Corporation, the Township of Hornpain received correspondence from the Municipality of West Gray requesting support for anti-racism and anti-oppression. And whereas Council condemns the unjust treatment, oppression, and racism against those who identify as Black, Indigenous, and people of color. And whereas Council acknowledges that systematic racism exists and persists in every community and institution in Canada, including creating social and economic disparities from education to healthcare to housing to employment and justice. And whereas Council supports the belief that everyone deserves to live free of systematic oppression or racialized violence. And whereas the report of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada contains calls to action, several of which are actionable by local governments, including Call 57. We call upon federal, provincial, territorial, and municipal governments to provide education to public servants on the history of Aboriginal peoples, including the history and legacy of residential schools, the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, treaties and Aboriginal rights, Indigenous law, and Aboriginal Crown relations. This will require skill-based training in intercultural competency, conflict resolution, human rights, and anti-racism. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornpain does hereby support the Municipality of West Gray's anti-racism, anti-oppression resolution and agrees to participate in anti-racism, anti-oppression, diversity, and inclusion training, as well as learning about the history of Aboriginal peoples when the appropriate opportunities arise, and to lead by example. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution will be forwarded to Carol Hughes, MP, Algoma, Kapuskasing, Manitoulin, Michael Mantha, MPP, Algoma, Manitoulin, and the Municipality of West Gray. Any discussion on the motion? Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Yeah, through you, Mayor. What I really like in this one, it's not just a bunch of words, but the key words are, this will require skilled-based training. And I like this because it's not just a bunch of words on a paper. They will actually require training. I think it's a positive step forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stefanik. Any other comments on the motion? There being none, I'll put it to the vote. Those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, moving on to 11.3. Request for support. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Peter and Belinda. Moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Whereas council received correspondence from the town of Amherstburg and the city of Sarnia regarding long-term care LTC home improvements with respect to conditions exposed by the pandemic. And whereas due to the deplorable conditions exposed by the pandemic in LTC homes in the province, and because this is a time for action, not just continuous streams of investigations, commissions, and committees, and because the problems have been clearly identified. And whereas council agrees with the town of Amherstburg and the city of Sarnia in asking Ontario municipalities to urge Premier Ford to start implementing the following resolutions immediately. 1, increasing hours for all part-time and casual labor in LTC homes. 2, inspecting privately operated homes for which government funding is received and ensuring that they are being properly run and that funds are being used for the benefit of the residents and not the huge profitability of operators. And 3, to end the neglect and unacceptable conditions being experienced each day by our vulnerable seniors. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby acknowledge and support the town of Amherstburg's and the city of Sarnia's requests for support for long-term care home improvements. Be it further resolved that this resolution be forwarded to the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, Carol Hughes, MP, Algoma Manitoulin Kapuskasing, Michael Mantha, MPP, Algoma Manitoulin, the town of Amherstburg, and the city of Sarnia. Any comments on the motion? Okay, I'll put it to the vote. Those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, moving on to 11.4, Ministry of MTO's Connecting Links program. If I can get a mover and a seconder. Drago, Peter. Moved by Drago Stefanik, second by Peter Kistemaker. Whereas through the Connecting Links program 2021 and 2022, the province of Ontario is investing in construction and repairs of roads and bridges on Connecting Links. And whereas Connecting Links are municipal roads designated under the Public Transportation and Highway Improvement Act, and whereas there are 77 municipalities with designated Connecting Links eligible to apply to the Ministry of Transportation, MTO's Connecting Links program, and the Township of Hornepayne is one of the eligible municipalities. And whereas the objectives of the Connecting Links program are to make Connecting Link investments that address critical Connecting Link improvements, extend the life cycle of the asset, and are cost effective and appropriate to address the Connecting Link need. And whereas the ministry will provide funding up to 90% to a maximum of $3 million per road project and up to $5 million per bridge project of eligible capital costs for approved projects. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby authorize the CAO clerk to submit an application for funding under the Connecting Links program through the Ministry of Transportation Ontario, MTO. The deadline for application submission is Friday, November 6, 2020 at 5 p.m. Any discussion on the motion? Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Thank you, Mayor, through you to either to Gail or Melissa. What is the planned amount that you will be applying for, please? Approximate?
Haven't really looked at it too closely yet, Drago. Our portion though is 10%.
Yeah.
And it'll be based on our condition report. The last application we put in was for, I think it was 233,000. And honestly, I don't think we're going to get the grant because our bridge is not in rough enough condition. Okay. However, speaking with our MTO contact, he suggests that we apply to show that we are requesting support. And what we're hoping to do if we don't get the money this year is to partner with the MTO when they do some work in the area, changing culverts and bridges closer to our municipality where they'll already be paving. So that was a recommended strategy from him. So
Okay.
I suspect it'll be around that same amount, which then would be
Right.
23,000 for our portion.
Because 10% our side is pretty
It's
decent
very
grant,
good, very
which is
good.
one of the best in a long time.
And you know what? That program doesn't usually offer that that ratio, so it's good for sure.
Yep.
Okay, any other further comments on the motion? Okay, I'll put the motion to vote. Those in favor? And that is carried. None opposed. Okay, continue on to 11.5, a mover and a seconder for the Terry Fox motion. Belinda and Peter. Okay, moved by Belinda Kistemaker, second by Peter Kistemaker. Whereas the Terry Fox Run has become an annual fall tradition with more than 3.2 million Canadians participating in fundraisers across the nation. And whereas the COVID-19 safety in mind, this year's run will be different, including online team registration, fundraising online or in person, maintaining safe and social distance. And whereas on run day, teams will join together following safe distancing guidelines and choose their own run route to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the run. And whereas last year our municipal team raised over $900 for cancer research, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby agree to team up for Terry by registering the Town Trotters, a municipal team in the 40th annual Terry Fox Run scheduled for Sunday, September 20th, 2020. Any discussion on the motion? Go ahead, Gail, and then Drago.
Just to let you know, Shanna has already registered the team online, and I believe if she hasn't already, she's going to send individual links to all the counselors and staff who are interested in participating, because this year, of course, you have to register yourself online, and we won't necessarily be walking as a group, but we certainly, a few of us for sure in the office are participating, and we're hoping that that will get a good group from the town to participate.
Okay, thank you, Gail. Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I know historically speaking, the municipality of Hornepayne and the council has always supported the Terry Fox Run, maybe through donation of purchasing items or juices and snacks. In lieu of that, possibly we could make a donation for our municipality under marketing to our Trotters team. I would suggest to council, because the fact we can't purchase any items or stuff for them. So maybe a standard donation what we had over the years, $150, I think would be a good gesture, and it's a good cause. Thank you.
Gail, do you need any resolution for that I think that falls under your own delegation or your own authority?
We don't need a resolution unless you wanted to note that you were doing that on your resolution.
Okay, council, is that something that you'd like a resolution for? We could have at the next meeting, or we'll just
you could just add it. Sorry, you could just add it to the one.
Add it here that we're donating
tonight, if you like.
And in the past, have we purchased T-shirts for the team?
We have not purchased. We bought our own T-shirts, like individually. We bought our own T-shirts. We have in the past provided water or juice, depending on the year. Most recently, we've provided the just some volunteering and some, well, everybody gets the pavilion for free, but the electrical hookup and some music and that kind of thing, more like a tech support sort of thing, some tables, chairs, that type of thing.
Okay. Is council in agreement with the addition of, let's see. With a donation of $150 added to the end of the resolution, so it would read 40th annual Terry Fox Run scheduled for Sunday, September 20th, 2020, with a monetary donation of $150. Yes? Linda, you're good with that? Okay, let me just add that in.
And Madam Mayor, thank you to the staff. It's commendable that our staff is taking a lead role on this. Thank you.
Okay, and I put that motion to the vote. Those in favor? Okay, and that is carried unanimously. Okay, so it is 8 o'clock right now, and we do still have a lengthy agenda. I'm going to propose that we break for 10 minutes or 5 minutes, Council. What would you need? 10? Okay, a 10-minute break. I'm just going to leave my, I'm just going to put my video off, but I will be back at 8:10 and we'll reconvene then. Go ahead,
you.
Melissa.
Do I pause the recording or let it go for 10 minutes?
I'm not sure. Gail, does it pause okay? I don't know if it pauses all right.
Sorry, Shannon would probably be the best person to guide us on that. She did most of the setup and.
I'm not sure. We've never paused it.
You know what? Let's just let it go, and we can
yeah.
just put a note and they're going to know. I'm sorry, those that are going to watch this video in the future, it's going to be stagnant till 8:10. There we go.
There we go.
8:11, Madam Mayor. 8:11. Thank you.
Okay, I see all of council's back, so we'll continue on with our meeting, and we are at item 12, correspondence information only. If I can get a mover and a seconder for the resolution. Peter and Belinda. Okay, moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation, the Township of Hornpain does acknowledge receipt of the correspondence information only package attached to the agenda at the regular meeting of Council held on Wednesday, September 16th, 2020. And I open that motion to the floor. I know for myself, I have a couple of items. If Gail, could I please get item 12.2, a paper copy of that? I'd prefer color too, if I could.
Sure.
And also for 12.8 and 12.9, I'll scan you documents for your records if you like. And then if we could post the Nagogami management plan, or if we have already, to our website, or how we can support that along.
Yes, it was on there. I'm not sure. I think there was a section on there for it, but yes, we can do that.
Okay, and I'll scan the copies that I have, or I can drop them off to you if that would be easier.
Sure. Yeah, probably that would be better. And then I can
Okay.
just put them back in your file.
Okay, great. Any other comments for the correspondence information only package for council? Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Thank you. Regarding item 12.5, regarding the OPP detachment boards support resolution, I like how people are responding very positively. They're our same wavelength as we are, and I think that's positive. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. One other thing I'd like to note, I'm not sure if maybe Stacy would have some insights on this, or Gail yourself, is for 12.4, the COVID business impact survey. If you look at the survey, it starts off in April. At first, when I first read it, I was looking at page 4. It says high, percentage is 29% high that this could put us out of business. And then in May, it goes to 23%. And then July, it goes to 15%. I'm like, wow, like people really changed their attitude. But then when you go down to the respondents on page 6, it's half the number of respondents in July. So it's interesting, like, did a number of businesses go out of business? Like I'm a graph person, so I didn't read all the fine details, but I was just. Go ahead, Stacy, yeah, go ahead, and I'll go to you, Drago, just a second.
Thank you.
So we haven't heard from, in this process, they definitely haven't talked about businesses that have closed, but we're still sending the surveys out to the same number of businesses that we have all along. There's just been less people answering the survey.
Okay, okay. Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Thank you. I mean, it'd be wise to check with the author of the report to see maybe what is the reason, like a real reason,
right.
Maybe. Yeah, that's a good valid point, Madam Mayor, because there's so many unknown variables, but by looking at that, that's a good observation you did. We don't know why. Are they successful? They don't want to respond anymore, or they really are our business. So I think that's part of the important part of the report. Thank you. Thanks for noticing, Madam Mayor.
Okay, so that was it for that section. Is there any other comments? Okay, I'll put the resolution to a vote then. Those in favor of accepting the information only? And that's carried unanimously. Okay, we're moving on to 13, which is a donations. 13.1. Okay, so did everyone receive the letter and read the correspondence from our Sunshine Club in our community? I'll open the floor to comment. Councillor Stefanik.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I fully support this donation. I think the recommendation should be coming from an administration team, the number, amount. But I think over the years that I'm in contact with them indirectly or directly, they have done wonderful things for our community in many ways. So I think we should do donate whatever the suggestion made by the administration team. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stefanik. I had a bit of discussion with Gail about this, that this would probably fall under our COVID dollars. Am I correct, Gail?
I would suspect that it could, but Melissa, you may know better on the guidelines there. But I mean, the reason they can't fundraise is COVID, and the reason they couldn't use the facility was COVID. So I'm thinking yes, but.
Go ahead, Melissa. Yes.
We haven't really received any guidelines for that COVID funding, so I'm not sure if it would meet the criteria or not.
Okay.
But there is, if it doesn't, like, we could fall back on putting it through council's advertising and public relations, where there's funding available in there right now, so about $70,000 left.
Okay. Do you want, Gail, would you like some time to figure out what a good amount would be, and we can pass it at our next meeting?
I think that's a good idea. Yeah, we can have a discussion, and I can maybe speak with the president and just see, what the cost of, providing a meal is and that type of thing, to get a little bit more detail.
Yes, and I think council is in agreement. I could say this is that we want to strongly support our seniors, and that we're in agreement. And once we can figure out what that amount is, we can talk about it at our next meeting. Do you need any further details from us, Gail, for that?
No, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to 14, conferences, seminar, and training, none. 15 is committee reports, none. 16, news and other business. So we're at 16.1, COVID-19 community control group update. And I hand that over to you, Gail.
Okay, so we've been continuing since about 2 weeks before school started. We put our CCG meetings back to weekly rather than bi-weekly, and have invited the principals from each school to attend. We've had attendance from 1 or 2 here and there when they have the opportunity. So things seem to be going fairly well so far at the schools, as far as we know. There's a bit of a challenge, I think, with managing things before and after school, when people may be dropping their kids off or picking them up. It seems that everybody's following the protocols in the schools, but when they're out, they kind of revert back to what they normally do. So they're going to be doing some messaging on that. But we continue to invite those the principals to the meetings. We want to provide support to them, and we want to know if they're having issues that we can help with, and maybe some of the information we have could also help them. So just from our today's meeting, somebody mentioned this already, there's 77 cases in our region now, and we need to keep our messaging up. That comes, we all know that, but Tanya from the health unit pretty much says that every week, that even though people may be getting sick and tired of hearing things, just because it's not in our community doesn't mean it's not circulating, doesn't mean it's not deadly. And now with influenza coming as well, the protocols, safety protocols with physical distancing and mask wearing can help also prevent some influenza from happening. Health unit, I read out a statement or some concerns from Mayor Fort today at the meeting as she was unable to attend. And one of those things was she had a comment from somebody that it seems that in some other communities, people are not wearing masks as much as people would like to see. So I mentioned that, and the health unit's response was they're going to have their team there work on some workplace piece to provide to municipalities that they can then distribute to their businesses, encouraging them to encourage people. And she did say, now I don't know if that will come out as strongly as that, but maybe saying to people, we're going to start refusing you service if you aren't going to follow our protocols. So anyways, we'll see what comes out of that. As we all know, the numbers in the province have shot up over 300 per day. It hasn't been below 100 for weeks, and they expect the numbers to further rise. There's been no guidance so far on Halloween or Remembrance Day from the ministry. With my discussion with the Provincial Emergency Operations Center, my weekly call, they do not, it hasn't even been an inkling of any discussion about that. So I don't even know if there's going to be any. Oh yes, with regard to Remembrance Day, Mayor Fort has invited President of the Legion, Alvina Liebet, to participate in a Facebook Live session in the coming weeks. And the Legion has a protocol in place already and a plan for their Remembrance Day. So you'll be learning about that on that call. Health unit continues to work with the school boards and the daycares to try and align things. The hospital reported that they have 5 to 8 locals getting tested per week or requesting testing per week at the hospital at their center. And we'll just continue to put out intermittent reminders, reminding people gently of the protocols that are in place and try to mix them up a bit so they're not so boring. That's all I had. I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that, Mayor Fort.
I don't have anything. Well, I do want to add, I want to give a big thank you to Amanda Drury for participating in our Facebook Live about the Terry Fox run, and just, I think it was twofold of letting people understand of how the Terry Fox one will continue this year. We were able to help advertise for their bake sale, and also just some hope for our community. Like, we're still in this COVID pandemic. It's not going to go away anytime soon, but we got to keep our community's hopes high, and especially as we go into this winter season. So, and always a big thank you to our whole community control group for participating, and I can't say it enough and stress it enough that we do have good support. So yeah, and looking into the coming season, seasons of Christmas and holiday and all of that, anything from anyone that wants to put in concern or whatever, you can definitely always email me or contact Gail as the control, and we can talk about those. Lots of our issues that come up are community driven as well, so it's all new to us, all of us. So okay, is there any questions on that from anyone? Okay, then we'll carry on to 16.2. So I decided to do a written report just for the AMO, and then I have several upcoming meetings. One that I want to throw your attention to is the Honorable Elizabeth, the Lieutenant Governor General of Ontario is hosting a virtual meeting. This is the second. She did host one last year in person. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go because it was back to back right after the AMO conference, but I have agreed to attend this meeting, and I just want to inform council that what I'm hoping to do is, and I put it in here, of maybe having a virtual coffee house for women and getting some ideas. It is a mayor's only event, so I can only attend, but I'd love to have that time and get a feel for what has happened and the impacts within our community. And I think it would be a good shout out when I attend to say, like I had, you know, if it's 10 or 15 women that we could gather virtually. So I would like to try and set that up, and I'll take any questions from council. And I would like to highlight that we were, and you read it in Gail's report, that Gail has been in touch with Aqua about our energy plan. And I think we need to look at that in January when we go to update our strategic plan. 2 items I noticed that were missing, and it just goes to show we passed our strat plan, and 13 days later or whatever it was, COVID hit, and it's just been chaos. So, but the one is the energy plan, and the other one is our landfill is not in our strat plan of council. So 2 items that we overlooked that we need to talk about. So if you have any questions, I'll take them. Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Thank you. It's interesting, the Honorable Elizabeth Doddswell, Lieutenant Governor, if you recall, she was the head of NWMO about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, she was the first. She was the first CEO of the company.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Just interesting comment.
Yep. Any other questions? Gail, did you?
Yes,
Yep.
I just wanted to say that we can try and play that clip from Mr.
Yes.
Clark. I'm going to leave that to Melissa. She's much better at that than I am, so we'll give it a shot whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
Geez, I did it before, now it's not letting me. Oh, here we go. Maybe.
Did you click share your screen?
Yeah, I did, but it's saying it's privacy accessibility feature.
Well, it's all right. It's okay if we can't. I think we have all seen it. I just wanted it within our meeting so that if anyone watches the meeting.
What I'll do is at the end of our meeting, or I can add it on the YouTube channel from like an attachment from our meeting today as a second video.
Okay, great. Our question did get answered as well. I could give you that segment. I could send you that video if you want, and we could add that as well.
That would be perfect. Yep.
Okay, great. I'll do that. And actually, on that note, for our AMO conference, we have the opportunity to talk with Minister Laurie Scott again about that infrastructure money. In her answer, she says that. And I do not know how I missed that. I watched it about 3 times. I think it must have went to the washroom, exact same spot. So anyway, I'll get that to you tomorrow. Okay, so moving on. And we have 16.3, which is pretty exciting stuff. Gail, would you like to speak to this?
Sure. So our relationship with ARDN started back about a year ago when we submitted an expression of interest for we were competing for a 1 hour consultation with, not a 1 hour consultation, that's what we ended up getting. We were competing for nationally for consulting work to help support development of affordable housing in a Canadian community. So we did not win that. Another community in Hornpain, or in Ontario, was a successful applicant, but every other person who applied got consulting for 1 hour with this company. And this company, although they're based out of Alberta, they serve people nationally, and they are a fairly young company, I would say, with very passionate and focused staff who have been very helpful to us. We did our 1 hour of consultation. We've since had 2 or 3 other meetings with them. And then I was contacted by the gentleman that we had been mainly dealing with, I don't know, a couple of months ago or 6 weeks ago. And he asked, he was telling us that their executive director was traveling through the region, and would we like to meet with her in person? So of course we jumped on that. And, you know, we thought it would just sort of be, you know, hello, nice to meet you. Thank you for everything. And we really like your services. And anyways, it ended up being Mayor Fort and I met with her, and it ended up being an hour and a half long meeting. And she, you know, listened to all our visions and our objectives, and our, I think our excitement showed through. And she sort of threw out this thing about them thinking about tossing around the idea of doing a pilot project, and would we be interested in participating? So we said, well, certainly we'd like to learn more. And you know, and she said, okay, well, I'll send you something when I get back. And anyway, so she when I asked her, she won't have a proposal until the next meeting in October, because there wasn't enough time for her to prepare a full proposal. But I had asked her, because we were so excited about it, I had asked her if she could provide a small document to let council know kind of where she was thinking of going. So I did receive that last week, and it was a lot more than what I think either myself or Mayor Fort expected. I expected it to be only on affordable housing. And now we've got this company interested in using us as a pilot project to how to revitalize a small northern rural community. And I think that is fantastic. It is, it's unheard of. We've really caught their attention. And I just think it's amazing. The timing is amazing. I mean, yes, are we going to have to find funding? Yes, we are. But they're willing to help us look for that. I just think it's a good match. We're a good match with them. We think the same way. And I'm really excited to see where this can take us. So I'm really excited to see their proposal and what it all involves. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, but it all started over one expression of interest. So you just never know. You got to take advantage of these things.
Yeah, and considering we weren't successful in the initial expression of interest, right? So sometimes failures is actually success. So that's pretty good. And I just want to say, I want to add to Gail's comments that the executive director was driving back from her cottage down in the Manitoulin area to Alberta and drove into Hornpain, visited around before she met with us a little bit, and then drove back. Like, so she committed a good amount of time to a lengthy drive already to come and meet with us, and was not in any rush to leave. Like, it was a really informative, well-rounded meeting. And I would direct, I know John was involved with the Sustainable Housing Initiative report that they've done. And that report brings you from not having affordable housing to how to have affordable housing. And it is really well done document. So they're good. What they produce is excellent, really. So I'm excited. Any questions on that from council? Okay, hopefully we become a template of success for the rest of the country, never mind the province. Okay, moving on then. For 16.4, the arena canteen contract terms review. And I'll hand that over to yourself, Gail.
Okay, so last year, probably November-ish, after the arena canteen agreement was awarded, some issues and questions came up that council had asked the staff to look into. So this report that I provided, as well as whatever discussion will take place, is kind of the result of that. I've attached the current, well, a blank document of the current canteen rental agreement. And since this report was made, we did hear back from one other and I jotted down what it was. I don't know where I put that, so I'll just tell you. It's pretty much the same. They provide tables and chairs. It's $800 a month. It's 237 square feet of seating space. They provide the equipment, and what else? Space for condiments as well. So I think that's about it. So it's of the ones that rent out municipal facilities, they're all kind of along the same lines. And just to point out too, that we have had, or I have heard comments over the past year that the rental fee is not very high on our canteen, and of course that was sort of determined, not really knowing how this would work out. But when you, and I was surprised when you add in the cost of the propane that the operator has had to put out, and any operator would have to put out, it adds a lot of money to what the actual expenses are for the business. We don't have a full year of operation yet to see what those costs would be annually in order to add them into the rent, if that's what we decided to do. And just to keep in mind that these expenses for propane are without having an operational arena. I think it was in operation probably 4 or 5 weeks before it closed and hasn't been reopened since. So, I mean, obviously there's a lot of propane that's been gone through, and that's without a regular use of the facility. So just I would be cautious to sort of take that on and add it into the rental fee without really knowing what the true cost may be. And then we may end up losing money if we did that. So anyway, I don't really have anything else to add other than what's in here. We're just kind of looking for some guidance because the agreement's coming up for renewal. And we just would like to know what council would like to see in the new agreement, or in a new agreement.
Okay, I'll open up the floor to council for questions or comments. Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Yeah, through you, Mayor. I thank you for the report. It's a pretty solid report. The fact of the matter, we own the equipment. The wear and tear on the equipment, sooner or later, and most of the equipment there is very expensive. Are we taking consideration we have to replace it with that current rent plus whatever's recommended to increase? Will it cover even one piece of equipment for that, you know, the monthly rental that was suggested? Something to keep in mind, because that equipment is expensive. I'm just talking about the regular hood, you know, exhaust system, very expensive if you have to, and it's quite old, have to replace. So those things to be, I think, considered as far as the rental cost. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stefanik. Any other comments from council? So just a question, Gail, the 3,200, that's the cost of the propane. So that's $400 a month for propane from February to August.
Yes.
Okay.
So
and the way the contract is written, there's the operator has to leave the tank full when they leave as well. So even if it was, you know, the contract was almost at an end, it would still have to be filled again.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Kistemaker.
When I looked at the 960 to 1,135 a month, that was for the average that people are charging for rent. Okay, when you take in the rent plus the propane is pretty well around that price range. So I don't think we're off because she is paying for the propane, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm. The only, so go ahead, are you done, Belinda?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, currently right now it's looking at it's approximately $900 a month of utilities and rent. My concern is if we enclose the utilities into our rental amount, and I'm a strong believer of this of all rentals, is that if the consumer's in charge of the propane use and paying the bill, they're more apt to stay on top of it. Whereas, and I'm not suggesting that our client, our renter would do that, but in all rental agreements, like even if in a housing rental agreement, I would think that would be better business practice. My only concern though is, do we have in our agreement, do we have everything taken care of servicing of the equipment and all of that laid out, of ensuring that our equipment is being maintained and taken care of with whatever safe servicing protocols we need?
I have to look at it again in that section, but they are responsible for keeping it clean and just a minute, routine maintenance and repairs. Hold on, make sure I've got the right bylaw here yet. Are the responsibility of the township, except where the repairs or maintenance are required as a result of misuse by the lessee, at which time the cost will be borne by the lessee, shall be maintained in a clean and tidy fashion, and the township has the authority to determine the appropriate level of maintenance and cleanliness, and reserves the right to conduct monthly inspections of the facility and equipment. I'm not sure if that's done. I know there's fairly close contact between the lead hand and the lessee, but I'm not sure if it's a formal inspection that's being done. I might have to look into that. And then an comprehensive annual inspection. So at the end of before the end of the contract, that's what's in there currently.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we do impose a monthly inspection and then list the list of things to inspect, because then I think that would give us better data to see like everything from the knobs, is everything working well, that sort of thing. And then if we start to see it deteriorating, we might have a better heads up of that. Councillor Stefanik?
Yeah, we also have the fire suppression system there. Through you to Dwayne, is this still being checked annually by the company?
Done once so far for sure.
Usually that was a yearly, because the O2 suppression system should be done once a year, and there was a cost borne to it. So that was another cost that's added to our municipality as well, Madam Mayor.
Okay, for the rental, okay. And originally in the document, it said 2% increase was what was agreed to for inflation. Did I read that right?
No, I was saying that I was suggesting that that's what other people are doing.
Oh, yes.
Just let me see. I don't think there's anything in there for
that. Go ahead, Melissa, while Gail's looking.
I just have a question actually for Gail, or maybe for council. In section 21, it says renewal. This contract may be renewed for an extended period by mutual written consent of both parties and shall be completed in written 30 days prior to the expiration date. So should council wish not to renew this contract, would it have to go back up for tender, a whole new tendering process? Yeah.
I don't see anything in there, sorry, for an annual, well, I think there was something in there for an annual increase when we were trying to do a 3-year term. That's probably, this is a 1-year term, so that it wouldn't be in here. But I don't remember what was in the draft for the 3-year document, but seems to be that other people are doing about 2%.
Okay. Okay, so I see your recommendations. So we need to, you're looking for guidance on the table and seating in the foyer, and I think it was a minimum of 12.
A minimum of 12 seating?
Yeah, that's what there is now. Is council good with that? And I guess too, in the COVID protocols need to be put in place for whatever restaurants. Okay.
Yeah.
What was the other recommendations? Let's go through them. Oh, permission of placing condiments in the foyer. My take on that is I have no problem with that, except I would like to see something more permanent. That's, I'm just worried that a child could knock over that table, that sort of thing, like something that would be more permanent. Like a small bar or something that would be attached to the wall. I'm not sure. Like, I'd leave that up to staff to decide. Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Yeah, if you see smaller restaurants, it's the type of shelving that's actually attached to the wall and shelves with the levy type, and people take this, so it's solid and nobody could bump into it. And it's kind, I'm sure staff could see that. It's kind of simple.
Yeah, it might use less space too in the foyer. Any other comments on that section from council? Okay, and the base rate of 500, excluding propane. Are we good to stay with that rate? Are we all tired on a Wednesday night? I can't poke you guys or anything. I gotta like, go ahead, Councillor Kestenwager.
If you can hear me, Madam Mayor, in the contract, does it say anything about garbage pickup? Because it was brought to my attention that the town's employees were doing garbage. Right? I didn't know if that was part of it or not.
It's not in there, but it's our facility, so I would just naturally include it with our, that would be my thought.
Okay, so it is being picked up by a town. Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Historically, it has always been done since 1984. That's a fact.
Okay, that's the township, and it's not adding any extra cost to us?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. And okay, any other comments about the base rate? Okay, I think, and I'm okay for some sort of increase every year for inflation. I think that's good to just have in your contracts. Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Yeah, even for next year, please. Again, I'm talking about equipment. Some equipment is old. I think there should be some reserve funds on our municipalities' behalf, because equipment is, as I said earlier, very expensive. So maybe have some capital reserves for the equipment in the canteen. It'd be a good suggestion, I think.
So just have some information here that suggested rent increases for 2020, 2.2%. This is from a government website, I believe. Stacy, you provided that information. Is it from a government website?
Yes. So every year the government sets a basic rent increase level, so we can always just best practice to that. So this year the recommendation is 2.2, and they always base that on inflation, and that's the rent increase is really for residential, but if we want, we can just best practice to that if we want to.
Okay, I'm good with that. Does that sound? Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Yeah, through you to Gail. So you're proposing this contract to be 1 year only? Are you telling me that?
No, I didn't really speak to that.
Okay,
Personally, I think it would be better to have a multi-year.
I
We
agree
just
with
never
you.
had the interest. We never had the interest before, so
Right.
I mean, I can certainly have that discussion. I don't know what the interest level would be,
Right.
but
Even for a 2 year term and our term, council's term, I think that'd be wise. Then the new council can make the decisions, change, alter their contracts if they wish. But also on the same note, I would respectfully suggest that it be higher than 2.2% the following year.
You're saying, Drago, to do 2.2%, but then not 2.2% the following year?
The following should be higher, in my humble opinion.
Should be
Because
higher.
the reason I'll tell you
Okay.
why, the cost of hydro will go up. We do use hydro in that facility because it's lights. So we pay directly for that as well, right?
Okay, I think there might be, I'm gonna put this question out there, or Stacy might be answering it, is that I think we might be restricted on how high you can raise rents. Go
Okay,
ahead.
fair enough.
So they calculate the rent based on inflation, and we can apply to double that, but we actually have to say they give us a guideline of 0.8% next year. We can apply to have 1.6. We'd have to prove that the cost went up. So they give us basically an amount each year, and we can't go higher than that unless we apply to go higher than that.
Right. I'm not suggesting double. I'm just saying a slight increase versus 2.2. That's what I'm suggesting.
Okay, so this year it's 2.2, and next year it could possibly be lower than that. Yeah, I think we should go with the suggested amount that we raise every year, and yeah, of what we can.
Okay.
Go ahead, Gail.
I have one more question. This isn't to do with an increase, but I have had an inquiry from the lessee as to whether they would be allowed to put picnic tables outside.
Any comments from council on that? I was speechless. What happened? Where are they proposing to put tables, and how many? And in your research, do other communities allow outside tables? I'm going to bombard you here a bit. Who's covering the insurance and cleaning that area and all of that?
We didn't include that in our survey. And it was just an email I received. I didn't have a discussion. I wanted to get a little bit of a feel for if it was even worth looking into first. So I know the discussion last year was various opinions, but some of the opinions or facts, I guess, that were brought up was it's not a sit-in restaurant. I have a cat that just jumped up on the table, and
hello.
This meeting goes to the cat. Yeah.
Hey, we are animal friendly here in Horn Bay.
Yes, well, she'll probably be back. So she's lonely, I think. So that was one of the comments. And other comments were, well, it's just, it's partly to provide our facilities, partly to provide socialization and things like that. So I mean, things like cleaning it would be up to them. Insurance, they would have that included in their insurance, and they have to provide their insurance to us, and we're an additional insured on their insurance. So that would be covered. But I know it was sort of a controversial discussion piece when it came up last year. So I just don't know where you want to go with that.
Any comments from council? Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, if you're gonna change it, we gotta change it now because we're gonna alter the contract once we set the contract. You can't change it midstream, obviously. I mean, that's common sense approach. The original thought always with that was an in-house restaurant, it wasn't outside. My personal feeling still is liability. I know they would cover, but if something major happens, I won't feel good about it. Um, I think liability to be biggest, even though it's paid by the person on the canteen, whoever it may be. I think that would be issue. People running, children running around, and cars going back and forth, and that would be my concern. Because then, do we enclose that area, and all of a sudden we put fencing around it? I mean, all those little issues that I could see happening in the future.
Good comments, Councillor Stefanik. I was just reading a CIP about patios and how you have to, one of the things was you have to have a barrier between the road, and yeah, we could open ourselves up there if we don't. It might be something that we could look into in the future. That's after we have our community improvement plan and some of our zoning done. I'm not, that does spark interest on me. Thank you for that, Councillor Stefanik. Go ahead, Gail.
Another thing is if we do get the funding that we've applied for, I mean, the design still needs to be done, right? So there could be an outside area designed for that type of thing, a proper, you know, shielded by the walls of the building and things like that. So it might be better to put that off until there's a real safety catch there.
Yeah. The other thing that I just want to mention now while or Belinda, did you have a comment?
I just wanted to say that going forward, I like to see us bring this up and not lose sight of it. And when we do go forward with our planning, it's part of it. So right now it's not a good thing, but I believe it will be a good thing once we are able to put our plans into play.
Yeah, I'm in totally agreement with you, Belinda. The other thing I was thinking too is, can we ensure that we don't hinder ourselves in the contract, that if we were to say have a trade show and we had multiple food booths or something like that available, that, and we do open up picnic tables outside for, say, a big trade event or a farmer's market, that sort of thing, that we don't hedge ourselves in too.
Yeah, I think we certainly can if we haven't already done that. We can allow for, we can put something in there to cover that. Oops, I lost you. Where did you go?
Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik.
Thank you. Just from past experience, approximately 25, 26 years ago, that's exactly the problem we ran into. The canteen operator did not allow anybody during the trade show to sell their food. Became a major, major issue, and I was in the middle of it. So you got to be really careful. Thank you.
Yeah, and with the 100-kilometer diet and the things moving in agriculture and that sort of, we need to have that space open. That's our biggest public space, that arena, for summer food sales, or what if we do any sort of economic growth that way. Councillor Belinda, do you have a comment? No? Okay. Do you have enough direction from that, Gail, or all your questions answered? So
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, and I think with the restrictions, I agree with Drago about a 2-year term, and just mentioning that to the leasee that you'll have a new council. Also, by that time, some of our planning documents could be done, and we could include some of this in that. We'll know more about funding arrangements and grants that are in play, so that might be a better fit for them as well. I don't think, council, you'd be opposed if the leasee just wanted to do a year renewal. No, we'll leave that up to Gail and the leasee to. Is that good, Gail?
Yes.
For you? Okay. Okay, no further discussion on that. Okay, we're moving on then, and we have 16.5 council committee updates. I'll just go around the table. Belinda Kistemaker, Councillor Kistemaker, Belinda.
I don't have anything to report.
Okay, thank you. That was nice and easy. Nice to see you. Councillor Peter Kissemaker? I can't hear you. What happened?
I said I got nothing to report at this time, Madam Mayor.
Nothing to report. Okay, I heard that. I'm gonna have to become a lip reader. There we go. Okay, Councillor Stefanik?
Real quick, for the PHU region, it's correct, 77 cases. What is really important to also realize, there are 3 active ones. I always judge how many actives are happening because that offsets the other ones that in close contact with those people. That's a thing that's crucial. I'll have to speak to Gail regarding the COO meeting coming up. I was kind of crazy busy last month or so. I'll have to speak to her. And just to give you an update, as we all know that the community hospital needs to raise massive funds for their emergency backup generator. I've spoken to Heather on it 2 times. I have offered my services and my volunteer time to spearhead a fundraising plan and put it into action. My report to Heather, the CEO of the hospital, be given to her next week. It's a logistical plan how to fundraise for the specific project. It'll be very difficult because a lot of people don't want to donate towards a generator because it's not sexy and it's not a great thing to donate to. But once the plan is given to the CEO, she will obviously share with her board, and it's about a 15-page document to see go forward because they need that, and I'm willing to assist in any way I can. So keep council appraised what's going on. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Councillor Stefanik. That's really good. And you might be able to sell that because lots of people know once the power's out, you got nothing. So
I'm looking for your lead. I'm looking for your lead, man.
Oh my
I'm looking
goodness,
for.
I'm getting another job to do today.
No, I'm looking for a lead through you to CN. I'm expecting big things from them. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, moving on. Is that everything from council? Okay, great. And I gave you my mayor's report. And if anyone wants to ever contact me about my upcoming meetings, you're welcome to do that. Stay tuned for the women's virtual cafe. Hoping to have that sometime next week and or early the following week. So let's move on to 18 bylaws. So we need 2 appointments. If I can get the first mover and a seconder, first appointment's Shauna Miller, Drago. And a seconder, please, Peter. Moved by Drago Stefanik, second by Peter Kistemaker. Be it resolved that bylaw number 1810, being a bylaw to appoint Shauna Miller as Deputy Treasurer, be here read a first and second time and be considered read a third time and finally passed. Any questions on the bylaw? The motion? No. Okay, put it to the vote. Those in favor? And that's carried. Sorry, Peter, I could only see your hand at one point. Okay. And if I can get a mover and a seconder for the second appointment of Bonnie Moylan. Belinda. And Drago. Moved by Belinda Kistemaker, second by Drago Stefanik. Be it resolved that bylaw number 1811, being a bylaw to appoint Bonnie Moylan as Deputy Treasurer, be hereby read a first and second time and be considered read a third time and finally passed. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, I put it to the vote. Those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, and our next 18.3 is the salary grid. If I can get a mover and a seconder. Peter? And a seconder, please. Drago? And that's moved by Peter Kistemaker, seconded by Drago Stefanik. Be it resolved that bylaw number 1812, being a bylaw to adopt the non-union salary grid and classification structure, be hereby read a first and second time and be considered read a third time and finally passed. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, I put that to the vote. Those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, so now we're moving into our closed session. Just before we move into that, Gil, do you think it would be wise to pass a resolution to go past 10, or we should be able to wrap up within 55 minutes?
I don't think we'll need it.
Okay. Okay, so this next,
Madam Mayor,
sorry, go ahead. Yes,
point of
Councillor
order,
Smith.
please. Can you give me 5 minutes, please? I would really sincerely appreciate it. 4 minutes.
Yes, can we do it in between
Is it
transfers?
acceptable?
Yes,
I
that's
would
fine.
really appreciate it.
No, that's fine. Okay, so we'll do a 5-minute break in between our sessions here. I need a mover and a seconder for the next portion. Belinda and Peter. Moved by Belinda Kistemaker, second by Peter Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the next portion of the meeting at 9:06 p.m. be closed to the public in order to discuss a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board and advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, pursuant of sections 239(2) CF of the Municipal Act 2001. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, so we're moving to our closed session. It's 9:06, so at 9:10 we'll be in our closed session. Is that enough time? Okay. Thank you, everyone. We'll